Hi there, I'm Christopher Dunnigan. This is HandmadeInVermont.com, and today we're talking about the Hubbardton Forge pendant called the Link. This is a really beautiful pendant, incorporates beautiful forging from Hubbardton Forge as well as hand-blown glass from a company here in Vermont called AO Glassworks, and that's up in Burlington, Vermont. If you ever want to check them out, just Google AO Glassworks, and you can see lots of information about them. Lots of videos too. Let's dive in. There's a lot of information about this, so let's just get into it. So, Link is the 161040, that's the style number. This is going to be a low voltage halogen fixture. We'll get into the LED version, well, that you can use an LED in this, but let's just talk about the halogen part of it first. Low voltage means that there's going to be a transformer up at the top that's going to take your regular house line voltage and transform it down to low voltage to make it, well, above all things, safer when you are using a cable. So this is going to be your transformers up in what's called the canopy, and this is the canopy. It's 5.25 or 5.5 inches in diameter, and you'll notice it's kind of a little on the thicker side, and that's for two reasons. It has to accommodate both the transformer, and then also when you're putting this in and you want to adjust it to the height that you want it to be, there is something called a gripper. It's a strain relief, and you can see I'm pushing this little piece in like that, and it's making a release. So what happens is when you push it in, you're able to push in, see how I'm pushing this in? You're able to push in the cable, and that's going to coil up inside it. So that's why there has to be a little bit of a space in there for this to coil up inside. You don't trim it on some of the other Hubbardton Forge fixtures. It's actually going to be in there. You can't bring it up and down all the time. That can damage this. So you're going to be doing it just during your installation. And this pendant is going to have two versions available. You're going to notice in the pull down section it's going to say the pendant with a canopy. It's also going to offer what's called rail track, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. But let's get into all the things you can do with this and all the different options you can see in those pull down menus. So you're going to notice the overall height of this is going to be 18.5 at its shortest or 77 inches at its longest, and that's going to be measured from the bottom of the fixture, and in this case it's actually going to be the bottom of the glass, because remember that's going to be kind of in here. So measure from the bottom of the glass to your ceiling itself. If you need this to be longer than 77 inches, just contact me, because we do customs all the time, but that should accommodate most of you guys out there. Let's get into the height of the actual fixture body. And when we talk about the fixture body, we're really talking about the top of this to the bottom of the glass. And you can see there's some little indentations in the glass here. There's little screws in this cuff, and that's going to keep this in there. So now we're talking about the distance from here to here, and that's going to be 15.6, 2.9 inches in diameter. Glass itself is 2.8 and 9.18 inches tall, and you can see that information on our website too if you want to check that out. This glass is going to be available in a whole bunch of different types, and you can see there's a pull down menu, and let's get into those types that you can get. So, and there's slightly different cost, so you'll notice that too. So you're going to be able to get this in clear. You can do clear with little air bubbles in it all over the place, gold with little air bubbles in it, blue with little air bubbles in it, and then this one is actually clear with a white thread, which is really pretty too. So all those different options, you can see the photographs next to me, and kind of go from there. Okay, moving on from there, let's talk about the metal finishes you can do on this. So this one is actually, that I have here, is vintage platinum. So you got vintage platinum is going to be one of them. You're going to have soft gold, and you're going to have gloss white. So those are going to be the three options for this. It's an aluminum fixture, so that's why it is done in those three opaque finishes. Just little details there that are kind of hiding. Okay, let's get into socket. So when we talk about that low voltage again, it's going to be using this little tiny light bulb. I don't know if you can see that little tiny guy right there. How small that is. This is called a T4, low voltage halogen. The max you can use in this bulb wise, it's not going to ship with a bulb, mind you. You can find these bulbs on Amazon quite easy. Just Google the parameters of the bulb. So T4, 50 watt. And then the socket is a GY 6.35, excuse me, 60 watt max. So that's what you want to do when you're looking for a bulb. As far as LEDs go, are there LEDs that will work in this? There are low voltage LEDs out in the marketplace. If you want to try them out, that's fine. But I find that when you have this beautiful crisp halogen light it's really going to work the best with this kind of glass, with very thick hand-blown glass. And that's going to be the same thing in a lot of other Hubbardton forged fixtures, like the Luma, that faceted one. I did a great video on that one too. Okay, so back to this again. So we've got our little halogen bulb, which you never handle halogen bulbs with your hands. The oils in your hands will diminish the life of the bulb. Always something you should know. You'll see a picture of the socket too, and you notice there's two little tiny holes in it, and it just pushes right in. Very easy, easy, easy. It's a dimmable fixture. I would go for the 50 watt if you can find them. You can also put in 40 watts and 20 watt bulbs. It's, there's no problem. Stick it on a dimmer and you guys should be good to go. Okay, so I think we talked about glass, we talked about finish, we talked about adjustable height, we talked about the height of the fixture, talked about a lot of things, but we have to talk about, well, let's talk about the canopy one more time. So it's going to be fitting over a regular 4-inch junction box. This is the bracket that's going to be on the top of this. It's going to go right onto this, and then this goes right onto that, and it all works great. If you are if you're taking out recessed cans, like recessed lights, and you want to check out a product out in the marketplace, we don't sell it, but I've used it myself. It's called the Can Converter, and just Google the Can Converter, and what it does is takes that recessed can up there, that recessed light, and turns it into a junction box without a lot of rewiring or messing up your ceiling, which is really important. Okay, so another way for you to kind of see all of this stuff is to look at the installations instructions. So if you're on the page for this on our website, HandmadeInVermont.com, look over on the right-hand side of your screen, kind of down from the pull-down menus, and you're going to see some links. It's going to say, click here to see installations instructions PDF. So open that up for me. That's a great overview of this whole thing. It's going to show you how this goes on to this. It's going to show you how that all goes on to your junction box, which is in the ceiling, how your glass goes in, all those little details, and it's just a great way for you to kind of see a lot of the inside of this before you actually get it. Okay, let's touch on rail track for a second. So like I said, this is the standard way most of you guys are going to get this, because most of you, and I'm talking probably 99.9% of you, are going to have this in your ceiling, a junction box. My glass is running away. Stay right there. However, there's going to be a few of you that are going to want to check out what's called rail track. So in the rail track, instead of having this, it's going to have the connector that's in the picture next to me that's just going to go onto, it goes onto the end of the cable. So in essence, what you're going to be getting when you order rail track is you're getting this body, the glass, a cable that comes out, and then the rail track head, the one in the photograph that goes on the top, which you can actually trim down once you get it to where you want it to be. Hubbardton Forge doesn't sell the actual tracks themselves because there's a patent that's owned by a different company. I think it's Tech Lighting. If you Google Tech Lighting, go check them out. You'll be able to see those tracks, and they come in linear tracks. They come in circles with lots of little ports in them, so you can hang a whole bunch of different things. And anyway, Hubbardton Forge's rail track connector will work in their rail tracks. When you're looking at Hubbardton, this piece on any website, the one thing you really want to keep track of, and a lot of people have called me later on because they didn't realize, they just saw a cheap price, and they didn't realize that they were buying rail track, and they actually needed this thing too. So they ended up having to buy this canopy from me later on. So just be careful of that if you guys are scoping this out on the internet, okay? So I think that covers most of everything in here. We have this on display in our showroom here in Vermont. Our showroom in Vermont has over 400 Hubbardton Forge fixtures spread across 2 floors. We have a What's on Display page. It's right on our website, back over on, I think it's over here for you guys, right? Maybe it's on this side. Anyway, so that's a What's on Display. It's going to show you everything we have on the floor, including like what glass it's in, which finish it's in, shades, all that good stuff. Changes every day because we're always getting stuff in. And we also have a clearance center here too. Clearance center items are 75% off MSRP. Great deal for you. It's less than what we paid for the product. It's returns, discontinued stuff, and showroom samples. If you were going to visit us in our showroom, make sure you bring a good sized car or truck or SUV or something, because you'll probably want to take some of that stuff back, and you can't do that with a little tiny car, especially if you've got dogs and kids running around. Showroom's open every day except Sunday from 11 to 6. I'm here every day except Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern. You can email us all the time, sales@HandmadeInVermont.com. You can call us during regular business hours, 802-446-2400. When you buy your Hubbardton Forge fixtures from HandmadeInVermont.com, Shipping is free to every state except Alaska and Hawaii. There's no tax if we ship out of the state of Vermont. We're the only dealer with 90-day returns and no restocking fees. No one else does that. Some larger items are non-returnable. We'll always note that on our website. So just keep your eye out for that too. So I think that kind of covers basically everything. If you guys have any questions, just let us know. We're here for you. And there's lots of questions that people have because there's lots of things going on here. And thanks for stopping in today. Take care. Bye-bye.